You know, fishing's really evolved. It's changed with clear water, zebra mussels. It's made my job as a fishing guide a little bit different. I'm not going to say more difficult, but it's different. I've used the same techniques for 20 years. Jigging, bobber fishing, Lindy rigging. The only thing is, how I do it, how I present the bait has changed. I'm going to show you the 4 things I use here on Leech Lake, central Minnesota, on zebra mussels, zebra infested lakes that are super clear, where the fish can be really, really spooky. First thing I do every year at the start of the year is I go right to that jig and shiner. The shiner bite, jigging all year long is fantastic. I like to use a tungsten jig when possible, light line, 6-pound test, clear water, jig and a shiner early in the year, and that'll evolve to a jig and a plastic later in the year when the weeds grow up and the fish maybe need some coaxing and you can be more aggressive. But jigging works all year long, and it's something we utilize in our guide boats. Just for the purpose of ease of fishing, with forward-facing sonar or side imaging, we can locate fish and keep them 40, 50 feet away from the side of the boat. We like to use slip bobbers, slip corks. It's changed too. With forward-facing sonar, we have these set up with tungsten weights, long leaders, fluorocarbon line, with super light jigs. But bobber fishing, precision sharpshooting bobber fishing, is a technique that we utilize almost daily here on Leech Lake. Some days with a jig, some days with a plain hook. The slip corking walleyes, like forever, is still very, very effective. Just with a twist, we utilize our side imaging and forward-facing sonar. You know, Lindy rigging forever has been a tactic. You know, since I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do is Lindy rig. Drop the bait off the side of the boat, slip drift, or even troll down a brake line. It's always fun when you use a big chub to get that nervous minnow bite, anticipate, set the hook, fight on. Lindy rigging still works, but with forward-facing sonar allows us to pitch. So really, a Lindy rig or a Carolina rig type setup where we have a tungsten weight, a leader, and a hook, depending on if you're using a leech, a night crawler, or a minnow, that would change, but the setup is the same. Lindy rig casting over the fish, dragging it through them, the same concept as a Lindy rig. We're just getting it out away from the boat. So being able to pitch that, you just have to change the setup a little bit, shorten your lead, use the tungsten boat size weight, and pick the appropriate hook for the bait. Lindy rig is a fantastic way to catch fish on Leech Lake. And sometimes with clear water, the fish are spooky. They're always away from the boat. Some days you have to trick them. You have to coax them, be real aggressive. And forever, who doesn't like catching a fish on a jig wrap? Braided line, fluorocarbon leader, jig wrap. This baby right here, when they hit that, they just pound it. You get that tick boom, and the fight's on with braid. There's no stretch. Super fun, effective way to catch fish, especially starting mid-June through late summer here in Minnesota. Those are the 4 techniques you'll see in my boat. We utilize these techniques 90% of the time. Not a lot of trolling anymore. If you look in the rod locker, you're gonna see lots of rods with those 4.